All right, we're going to be talking about the Walnut Valley Festival. It's basically a bluegrass slash folk slash music slash whatever kind of music you enjoy that's acoustic type of festival. It takes place in Winfield, Kansas every year. It's been going on for over 50 years. And this is going to be a newbie's guide for how to navigate through that festival and getting into it and set up. And we're going to get more into it right after this. So I had recorded quite a bit there in Winfield, and I realized as I started watching the footage, I probably needed to do a little bit of pre-log to that. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things right now, and then we'll jump in, go back to Winfield, Kansas. The nomenclature of Walnut Valley, we have pre-registration. This is the way that you lock in your camping dates and rates for your stay. Lineup is an area that once you get your pre-registration done and they give you your lineup information, lineup is a different area that will allow you to mark your spot to where you can then come back for the land rush or days before the land rush to be able to get in line to go into the main camping area. So the lineup is just that. It's a big parking lot. There are electrical outlets around, but we're going to talk more about that when we get to it. But that's all it is just a lineup area. You can camp in the lineup area if you have nowhere else to go. Land rush is the actual day, crazy day, where you move from your lineup area to pretty much claim your campground spot in the main campground. Like I said, more of that to come. And I'm also going to be talking about two different campgrounds. They have the Pecan Grove and they have the Walnut or West campground area. And those two areas, I'll be explaining that as well, but just understand that's where those are. So those are the words we're going to be using. And now on to Newbie's Guide to Walnut Valley Festival. All right, so if you are brand new coming to the Walnut Valley Festival, there's certain things you're going to need to know. And to be perfectly honest, some of it is not well explained on their website. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into it right now. First of all, you need to know the important dates right off the bat. Now I'm going to use the dates that were for 2022. So I'm going to mention certain things and call them by certain names. So you're going to need to look it up on the website to see when these dates correspond. So don't follow my dates so much as how this works. So somewhere around the beginning of July, in this case it was July 1st through July 10th, there's pre-registration online. Now, the pre-registration is important because if you are definitely planning on coming, then you're going to want to pre-register. Prices could vary, but it was $225 for 15-day to secure your site. And now that is for the entire festival period, which includes what they call land rush and on. So you want to make sure you get on there and do that. You want to sign up as early as possible. It's on the 1st and it opens at 7 a.m. and I believe we are in Central Time. So 7 a.m. Central Time, you got to get online. It's going to crash possibly. I signed up later in the day and I wound up in D row. That's letter D as in David. If you want to be in A, B, or C, you're going to need to log in like in the first probably 20-30 minutes and be able to get in one of those first 3 rows. Sometime at the end of July, you're going to be getting an email from the Walnut Valley Festival people, and they will be giving you your information, like what row and what campground you're going to be in. Another thing to know, campgrounds. You have a choice of West. They also call it Walnut, but I believe they're calling it West now. So it's W. And they have Pecan Grove, P. There is a big difference. Pecan Grove is kind of a more free-spirited, Ren Fair type of hippie atmosphere and feeling, but they are fun people. To be honest, Dawn and I walked through there and we thought, we kind of want to be over here. But they are further away. You have to walk a little bit more to get to the festival. The Walnut Grove, the West campground, there's more electrical outlets that are closer together. You have a better chance of getting close to electricity. People are not, everybody's nice. Everybody has been nice. But they are a little bit more, I hate to use the word cliquish, but face it, they've been coming to this festival for like the last 40, 50 years. It's been going on for 50 years, and all these people know each other. So you're brand new. You're kind of the new kid on the block, and they're nice to you, but you know, you got to kind of be outgoing and get kind of locked in to a group, so or two. So August 27th at 7 a.m. through the 31st of August, lineup begins. Now, I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. If I had my way, I would probably have gotten here at that time, marked my spot, and then gone somewhere and camp out or do something else. Because to be honest, that lineup spot's important. And if you're at the end of your line, it's a bit messy. You got a less chance of getting a really great spot. But we basically got plugged in at the end of D row, and that wasn't really all that horrible. September 3rd, formal camping rates begin. That $225 that you paid for, it begins on the 3rd. If you actually are camping on the grounds on the 27th, then you've got to pay the Winfield Fairground camping fee, which is a lot less money. You got to pay that up to the 3rd if you're going to be camped out by that time. So that was September 3rd. September 8th at 7 a.m. land rush begins. So 7 a.m. they are moving them out pretty fast. The 14th through the 18th are the actual dates of the festival. So these are the dates you need to know. So pet policy. They don't have anything in their brochure that says pet policy. You'll see something that says service dog policy. Well, when I see service dog policy, I'm thinking, okay, that's for service dogs. And all the way through, they had like over a 500-word essay on service dog policy. And all the way through, they talked about dogs in the festival. I honestly thought festival meant in the festival grounds, where the bands are playing, where the vendors are, where everybody's wandering through. And I get it. You don't want dogs in the festival area. You only want service dogs that are true service dogs to be in that area. You know, I'm sorry, emotional support, sit at your rig with your emotional support dog, you can start getting anxious. But they should not be in the festival. Well, about 3/4 of the way through this 500+ word essay, they added the 2 words "and campground." Only time it shows up. So, no dogs or pets in the festival, and campground shows up once in this entire document. I didn't see it. They were saying, well, you got to go board your dogs for 2 weeks. And I thought, our dogs are too old. They're not going to survive 2 weeks in boarding without us. The people here are very accommodating. They're very nice. They basically had an agreement. I talked it over with them. I went to their headquarters and talked it over with them. Now, please don't use this as an excuse and try to get it over on them. If you have pets, don't try to sneak them in. Leave them at home if it's possible. Do whatever you have to do, but don't try to sneak them in. But we're on the up and up. Security knows that we have the dogs with us. We keep them close to camp. We don't walk them outside of our general area here, and we have them with us right now. But we got to be a little covert about it. And if they were to cause any trouble, and you've seen R2, they're going to cause trouble, right? Yeah, maybe like 3, 4, 5 years ago they might have caused trouble, but not now. The only trouble I get is when I try to wake them up to go walk. That is important to know. No pets allowed, period. And only true registered service dogs. Now you got to see this. We got an ice delivery that comes around a few times a day. They drive through and yell ice. We also have a dump service for dumping the RV. I kind of thought, yeah, those guys should be driving through saying, no, I won't say it. Anyways. Okay, I lost my place. Let's get back here. Okay, number 3. Plan to bring at least 100 to 200 feet of electrical cord if you need to plug in. We got really lucky. We are backed up to an electrical post right now. We were backed up to an electrical post there, but that is extremely rare. They do have a guy who shows up during the week of the festival selling cords, and you're only going to have 30 amp service unless you are in the handicapped area. Handicapped can have 50 amp service, but they are selling 50-foot 30 amp cords for $200, 25-foot cords for $100, and he told me there was a lady who needed 125 feet of cord to reach. That cost her $500 for a cord. We actually bought a cord from Walmart. It was $60, I believe it was, and that was for 35 feet or 30 feet. And basically, I didn't open it up till I knew we were going to wind up, and because of where we are, I was able to take it back and get a refund on that. But yeah, you're gonna need electrical cord, and they do not tell you that. They said they do, but I couldn't find it anywhere in their documentation, and I searched for it everywhere. They do have 15 and 30 amp service, so if you only need 15 amp service, you can bring regular extension cords, which would be a lot cheaper. The Walmart's close by. The one in town here did not have any cords for sale. I had to go a town away to buy my cord, but I was able to return it to the local Walmart. Sometimes you might get lucky and you'll meet up with somebody who's super nice, who didn't need their power cords, and they'll let you borrow it. Number 4, okay, this goes back to that land rush thing. Ideally, if we did this again, I would reserve my spot the first day of lineup. You can do that by coming in and laying a tarp down or marking off your spot in the lineup area, and then you can leave. You don't have to stay if you have it marked. You want to make sure that the paper that they gave you, that little paper I told you about that gave you what row and campground, put it in a plastic baggie and tape it down really good with duct tape or Gorilla tape on your tarp, so it's clear, it's got your name on it, and you're locked in. Okay, here we go. Number 5, day before the land rush is a zoo. I had this great intention of driving, the day before land rush on the 7th, because land rush was the 8th, driving over, doing a dump with the rig, and then pulling back in my spot. Isn't going to happen. That day is a zoo of people coming in, getting ready for land rush. So what I would recommend is the day before that, on the 6th, if you need to dump, go dump, and then get back in line, and then you just have your 7th, and then land rush on the 8th, because it is absolutely a zoo. In fact, trying to even get out to run, we had to run out and do an errand. Trying to get back in, it's backed up all the way down the highway. RVs trying to get in here for land rush, so I'd kind of just plan to hunker down on the 7th and not do a thing. Number 6, plan to stay in your RV the night before land rush. If you were planning on driving in the day of land rush, you need to be in here by 5 a.m. They close the roads down around 6:30, and there's no driving in. So you'd have to wait till after land rush was over before they would let you back in. And to be honest, I would even recommend staying in your RV 3 days before, because like I said, that day before is really crazy. Okay, and I was going to say, even though the festival is only for 4.5 days, the parties and festivities start early. If you like listening to music, there's groups all over the place. And what I discovered last night, we've been here a week already, and we weren't sure what to make of it. A lot of people have their little performance areas that they put in the campground itself in an inner circle, and just knowing campground etiquette, I always feel weird about walking in to someone's area. But a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, welcome that. If you see somebody on the outside or that you can talk to, ask them, hey, is it okay if we come in and listen? They're fine with that. There's a couple of groups that allow you to come in and jam with them, and I found one last night, but I found 2 late, so I wasn't able to get my guitar and come back because it was we didn't find out till an hour after it had already started. But things will go on all night long. This one started to break up around 10-11 o'clock at night, but to be honest, there's some jams that go on till 3 a.m. and from what I understand, in Pecan Grove, that's more the norm. Over in Pecan Grove, they will jam all night long. It's funny, they have a quiet time at midnight for electronics. After midnight, there's no moratorium on playing if you're a picker. If you're playing music acoustically, you can play all night if you wanted to, and that's the way they do it here. If you're shy and an introvert, this might not even be the place for you, because you're going to need to kind of be a little forward to say, hey, can I come in and listen and just talk to people? They're all nice. They're not going to be upset. They're not going to tell you to go away. Not every group is going to allow you to jam with them. I have a group that's right across from us here. I found out they are an established bluegrass band, and they're out here playing and practicing. I got a feeling they're going to be competing. You know, you can't really jump in and join in with an established group that is a small group like that. But there's a lot of great play-alongs. Two of them I'm going to mention right now. Carp Camp, C-A-R-P, like the fish. They have a huge Irish folk music group, and they've got violins and guitars and dulcimers and all sorts of things there. And they do have music. I understand they allow you to come in and sit in. There's another one we just found last night, and I wish I would have known, because last night was the last night they were doing a jam, and it's called Thumper. And Thumper last night, 2 days before the official start, they have a 60s play along. So all music from the 60s, and that just speaks my language. But yeah, I was able to sit in, sang along with them, just had a lot of fun. Okay, so quick insert. I just remembered 4 more points I needed to make for newbies. You want to scope out the campgrounds days before actual land rush. We came through many times, kind of peeking around to see places we might want to camp. Truthfully, we'd scoped this area out many times. And this is kind of close to the highway. The highway's right up there. It's a pretty big open area. It's not nearly as shaded as the old grove area behind me over here. So basically that is where you want to be for first time, possibly, because this fills up last. Do not camp on low ground. There is a river that will flood if they have heavy rains. So you'll have to pack up and get out if that's the case. So just be aware of that. Okay, next point, that was number 8. All right, when you do search out your campsite, definitely realize a lot of these people have been camping in the exact same spot for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Yeah, and they're pretty partial to their spot. Everybody knows it that has been coming, and they leave and they don't go there. So you're going to be brand new, you won't know that. So if you see a spot that might be open, you think it's open, but there's a lot of people there setting up around you, ask first. Sometimes they'll let you in if they don't have anyone that's going to fill the spot, but oftentimes that spot will be taken. So I know it doesn't seem fair because it's land rush, right? But to be honest, they've been doing this. They kind of have their own rules, and you know, just go ahead and go along with that, move on, find another spot. Now, when the first thing you want to do when you finally get to your campsite, before you unhook even, you're backed into your spot, you know where you want to be, the first thing you do is you grab your electrical cord and you plug in. There's only 8 spots on each electrical box, and if you don't snag your electricity right at the beginning, you may lose out because other people are going to be plugging in as you're trying to set up. So plug in first, then take time to set up. Very important point. When you finally get to your spot, you're all hooked up, got your electricity, everything's good. Rope off the area where you're going to park your vehicle. This is important because you may drive out to go somewhere to town, come back, and there's a tent now in your truck spot, and they're all set up. Some people will use caution tape to tape off their area, and they also will put out some tarps. We got creative. We got a paracord and a whole bunch of our garden flags. So when we leave to head into town, it's pretty obvious that that spot is taken. So that was just a quick insert. Now back to the rest of what you need to know. Point number 13, there is no Wi-Fi, okay? They do have what they call a Wi-Fi cafe, but that cafe is nothing more than a couple of routers in the middle of the festival area, and to be honest, once the festival begins, it's more than useless. It's just, you're not going to get anything. If you have to have Wi-Fi, bring a hotspot, and better yet, you know what, be disconnected for a few days. It's not going to hurt you. Trust me on this. Dawn and I actually survived quite nicely, though I was able to use my hotspot a little bit, but I really hardly was on it at all the time we were there. So keep that in mind, no Wi-Fi. Number 14, if you play a musical instrument and you want to get involved in the jams, how do the jams work? Well, understand there's 2 different types of groups out there. One, there are people who are just willing to jam, and there's also groups out there that are established groups that are practicing and are getting ready for a performance while they're there at the festival. So a lot of times to find the jams, they will post on the outhouses, the porta potties. Yes, the information central. So I saw 2 of them posted there. One was a 60s play along that was happening in the Walnut Grove and West Campground, and that was a lot of fun. And then there was a Beatles play along that happened in Pecan Grove one night. That also was an absolute blast. Definitely fun. Just bring an instrument, jump in, and just have fun with it. Okay, there are other ways to get into jams. Have your instrument with you. Just be walking around. If you see 1 or 2 people just kind of sitting messing around, just say, hey, can I join you? And I would say 9 times out of 10 or more, they will say, yeah, come on, sit down and let's have some fun. The music ranges everywhere from bluegrass, but everything, everything's a go. I was out there jamming with some other people on just some oldies that I have, everything from Margaritaville to Beatletoons to Eagles to John Denver. It's not all just bluegrass. It's probably more about the people attending and more about those jam sessions than it is about the bands on the main stages. They were awesome. Loved all of that. But the new friends that we met, we're planning and hoping that we can make it back next year, and we all kind of agreed, hey, let's all camp in this spot and make it our campground. So that one spot that we were at, that's probably going to be us, okay? But just realize, find your own niche. Come in and join us. There are plenty of spots around us that you could take and be part of our party at Winfield. So that is it for this episode. Man, what an exciting, fun event this was. Next week you'll be seeing pretty much what the festival looks like. This week is just about if you're a newbie, okay? And I'm glad that I'm able to bring this to you because it's not an easy place to maneuver for the first time. So make sure you hit that subscription button, thumbs up for good measure, hit the notification bell, let you know when we post every Sunday at 2 o'clock. And until next time, safe travels, and we'll see you on the road.